It's Sunday, April 14th, 2024. And a beautiful day it is. The weather is supposed to deteriorate this week. Tuesday through the remaining of the week is going to be much cooler. Some rain and maybe even some snow, which is typical of April. It's not unexpected. We've been having very, very nice weather until now, up until this point at least. So you can see I've got the little guy out here with this empty tote that I repaired, and I'm going to load that on this black trailer. Now, what I want to do after that is then get that pump going and pump all that syrup into it while it's on the trailer, because again, I can't lift it if it's I can't lift that tote if there's any appreciable amount of syrup in there at all. It just can't handle it. So I'm going to get that on there, and then we'll start pumping some syrup. Oh, and it is warm enough for short pants. You knew that was going to happen. Monday, April 15th, 2024. You can see that I cleaned out the dead outs along here, so all but two of these pallets have only one colony. So it looks a lot more sparse now. Now, it's only about 11°C out here. It's pretty sunny. There's not much cloud, so we got a lot of solar warming here. And all I wanted to do, it's been 12 days since I moved since I last checked the bees, since I did some assessments here and to look into them. And make no mistake, I'm not under the impression that these colonies look good at all. They're alive, and when I write, 3 on it, that's a relationship to the rest of the apiary. That means that's one of the best ones. They probably will survive. 2 likely will survive, but they're a little less. 1 not likely going to make it. So that's my assessments, because these don't look good at all. I want to do some mite washes on them, but stealing 100 bees or 300 bees out of a colony that's got 900 bees, that's a tough call. I really would like some more buildup and then do a mite wash. However, I just want to come out here today. The weather is said to be deteriorating this week, And this is going to be the last time I get a chance for probably 10 days or more. So I just wanted to look and see if anything's changed here in the last 10 days. You know, I went through all of these colonies, and it's just not very encouraging. So let's dive in here and see what we've got. Okay, we've got a 3 and a 2, and I really have to come and get my screwdriver and take that trap off of there. So this one I marked as a 2, so that means I think it probably will make it, but maybe not the strongest. There's a few bees there. Looks like a pretty small cluster. I like the sound of that. Okay. So that's the remnant of the tablet that's been in there since fall. And they look like they're chewing away at this patty. They're not making much headway, but they are chewing at it. Let's just pull a frame or two and see if there's anything interesting going on. I want to be fast. We've got pollen stores there. We've got some sealed brood here. There's the queen, sealed brood, open brood. Okay, they are doing as well as I could expect at this point. It's a pretty small cluster, but she's laying, and that's encouraging. That's all I want to see. We'll put that back over that little nest. I'm gonna rip it in two, put it right there. My feed hole should be over here. So I want to make sure they've access to liquid feed if they want it. They've got lots of feed in the hive. I just want to do everything I can. Okay. A few more bees showing here. Far more patty consumed. I was optimistic with them. I gave them 2 pounds, and that was not lost on them. They've done really well. This is probably one of my best looking colonies. We should get turnaround in about a week. And people ask me what I mean by turnaround. It's when the new bees start emerging in, larger numbers. I see pollen pants here, and that's really encouraging. I don't know. I have an old pollen feeder over there. I haven't filled this season, but I'll go over and check it. She's right there. Let's see. Let's go right in the middle. That's a very light frame. There's brood and there's a queen on there. There's open brood, there's sealed brood. Okay. All right. This is sealed brood is what I wanted to see, really, because I didn't see a lot of that when I was in here last. So, you know, your life cycle, egg lay to sealed brood is about 8. Sealing the brood, I think, is the 8th day. So 7 days worth of days. So we'll give them back that patty. We'll get it a little closer to that nest. That's important, I find. Get the patty over the nest. Okay. I may not check more than maybe one more. There's a 2 over behind me. I still have to come through and clean all the bottom boards. I'll just replace the whole pallet with a clean pallet and then clean those up offline. Offline. Okay, they're a little bit of consumption on that patty. It's a P word. Oh, a little jumpy. Give them something to think about. Okay, nice little nest. There's eggs, a young larva, an unmarked queen. Okay, so the unmarked queen might be partly why this colony survived, even as well as it did, because I believe what I was told, I know what I was told, and what I was told was the queens in these colonies, when I got them last year, they were all marked. And I know I've seen at least 2 that are not marked. No pollen pants here. All right, so again, that's all I wanted to know. And the reason I wanted to know that, really, the quantifiable thing I want to know that I'm taking from that is just what the turnaround date is going to be and estimated at. And so, like I say, I'm putting that at mid next week. So, you know, 24th, April 24th, we're going to say. So after that, these colonies should start to really expand in girth, particularly if we get some warm weather. Now, that's going to be a hardship because the temperatures are going to be declining here for another 5 to 6 days. And that's a problem because that's going to pull that little nest right back. So we'll have to see in another week once we can get out here again and check some frames and see how they're doing. A short little video today on checking the hives, but it's good to keep an eye on what's going on. So thanks for joining me. You all take care and have fun. It's Friday, April 19th, 2024. Look what happened here. There's all this white crap on the ground again. This is typical. I was waiting for this because, you know, I take pictures of my apiary as the season goes and are reviewing pictures of my apiary in seasons past or years past, there's always a picture with a really good dump of snow in the apiary in April. So I'm not surprised. I was waiting for this. And we kind of got away lucky. It's still snowing now, but it's going to quit pretty soon. And today's high, I think, is -1, -2. So it's not going to be very warm today. But tomorrow is 10. So for your Fahrenheit people, let's see. Low tonight of 30 and high tomorrow of 50. Suffice it to say, I think this snow is going to be melted tomorrow. And this week has really flown by, particularly because Wednesday and Thursday were quite busy days away from the farm. And you can kind of just see the end of my trailer here with an empty tote in the trailer. And that was Wednesday's project. I took that tote of syrup back over to Ian's. He graciously allowed me to return it to him. And it was a rainy day, so we had like a 3-hour visit in the honey house. So that was kind of fun. It's always nice to visit with Ian. A bunch of other little errands, of course, as the day goes. And I really wish my camera wouldn't do that. And if you can tell me how to stop my camera from doing that, please tell me. I've tried and tried, but I can't figure it out. So tell me. This is just the camera app that is included with the Android operating system. So that brings me to Thursday. So Thursday was another trip to Winnipeg. However, throw in there an all morning meeting. So sat in the house on a meeting all morning and then gathered up and went to Winnipeg to the packer. And that's what I'm kind of doing here with the half ton, just unloading my honey that I brought in yesterday from the packer. So there's a whack of honey here in the garage now. Today is just stay in out of this crap and build some pallets. Really, that's all that's going on today. So really not much interesting. And then we'll get into the weekend. So we'll update this hopefully Saturday with what's going on. And if not Saturday, then another day. I'll let you know. I'm so tired. I'm just so tired. Just been going steady. I can't hack this anymore. Used to when I was a younger guy, but I just can't hack it constant going like this. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all your support. I've been continuing to get a lot of really nice, encouraging messages from people. Keep going. You can redo. You can rebuild. I know you can do it. All that kind of stuff. And there was a few people actually sent some funds my way, and I didn't ask for it, but there's some people, they just are made for giving, and they need to give to help out, and that's so much appreciated because there's so much that just comes down to paying bills when this kind of thing happens, and those funds that were sent along, that's going to be very, very well used. I will try my best to honor that and make sure that has a direct impact on the rebuild. I've not allocated those funds yet, but I have some ideas of how I can use those funds best to, honor those funds in the spirit they were given to help rebuild my apiary. So much appreciate that. And I don't appeal for money. I don't ask for money. I don't sell things. I don't endorse things. I don't advertise things. I don't have coupon codes. I don't have affiliate links. And I'm not saying that might not happen in the future, but I have no intentions at this point for that to happen. However, I do get questions a lot. Well, how can we help? I want to send you a little bit of money. If you need to do that, there's a PayPal link in the description. But again, I think I'll be okay. I really appreciate your prayers and your thoughts, your encouraging words. And that's really all I can say. And I know some of you don't listen very well, and you give money anyway. And if you do, it will be well used. I'll promise you that. And thanks for watching. Um, I love you all. So that's all I wanted to really say. Take care and have fun. Today's woodshop beverage du jour is Coca-Cola Zero Raspberry spiced. I'd never seen this before. Bought it recently. It's kind of good. I don't know. The cherry Coke, I think, is every bit as good. But regardless of that, I was rooting around in the apiary yesterday looking for something, and I came across this, just sitting there, just like this. I guess it was there all winter. I recognize this as a box that I built my first year. So that would have been 2015. This might have been built in late 2014, but regardless. And I noticed that besides a conspicuous lack of glue, there are no fasteners at all. There's no nails. So I'm not really sure I built this one. I don't remember back that far if we bought some boxes then. I kind of don't think I would have. But I also don't think I would have built a box with no screws and nails. So I have an opportunity. So what do I want to do? Normally, when I've built boxes before, I just use these 16 gauge nails that I'm using for the covers, or that I was using for the covers. But maybe I want to use screws on this. So if I wanted to use a screw, how long a screw would I use? My screws are number 8 flathead wood screws. And this is 7/8, it's almost an inch. So my rule is that you want something that's at least as long, at least twice as long as this material that you're going to go through. So that would mean about a 2-inch screw. This, I think, is a 2-inch screw. But I think I want a 2.5-inch screw in there. Just because if I envision that screw, let's see, if I envision that screw going through the side of the finger and going 1 inch inside here, it doesn't look like very much penetration to me. So I think I'll use a 2.5-inch screw. And I'm also going to use glue, imagine that. It's a little tricky to work here on my pallet jig, but so make sure you put the handholds to the top. I don't like building boxes, so this is just me fixing this box. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stand the end pieces up here. Just like so. So then I can pound this into place like that. But I want to get glue in here. I'll use my Type 1-3 waterproof glue, and I'm going to pre-drill and use 2.5-inch screws. I think I'll pre-drill these first. Okay. Now, here's your theory on glue. The grain on the wood goes this way. So this is called side grain, and this is called end grain. End grain, an end grain glue joint doesn't have nearly as good of adhesion as a side grain glue joint. So you want to make sure you get plenty of glue on that side grain. You get some in the end grain too, for sure, but you're strength is mostly in the side grain, long grain, I think sometimes people call it. Now, if you think about the joint, when I put that side in here, there's going to be an end grain to long grain contact. And there's another one right here. So we want to get some glue on that too. Just to cover the bases. And the same thing here. Evidently, I'm not putting this together the same way it came apart. This joint doesn't fit perfectly. Okay. Now, I don't want to just drive the screws in, because what you can't see is this side piece needs to be pushed in to make the joint tight. In order to do that, we've got a clamp. And what I want to make sure I don't do is I want to make sure my clamp is below the fingers here, so that I'm clamping on the side and not on the fingers. And because I'm using screws now, I can put a screw in that first position. Not going to make those desperately tight because I don't want to crack that finger. It's a nice long screw. Now I'll clamp this side. Same way. Okay. That's come in really nice. A lot of times I see people online doing tutorials about how to build boxes. You can tell they've never built a box before, but regardless, they talk a lot about getting your square out and make sure you square the box. Well, if your joint is square, that's going to square itself. And now I need to take this apart so I can do the same on this side. Yeah, get it right, but don't overthink it, you know. I tend to overthink things. Those fingers I hadn't drilled, so I'll do that now. What I don't want to do is drill into this piece because it's not aligned yet, and that'll make the screw want to align to an incorrect hole. Now this is just a painted box, it's not a dipped box. So perhaps I should keep it indoors and repaint it. I don't know. I'm not exactly hurting for boxes, so it's not much of a priority. I just kind of wanted to get put back together. Okay, so I've done half of the joints. The other half are here. So more drilling. This will be the strongest box I own. All these screws in it. You typically use good glue. You don't need to screw every finger. But we're in the shop. It's in the shop. We got the tools out. You know, if I go through all this and the box ever comes apart again, I'll feel kind of silly, won't I? It's like going down the highway with a load on your truck or trailer. If your load comes loose or comes off and you haven't used all the straps, you should use more straps. There's like 32 screws or something in this box. Now, if you look at this joint, this is the frame rest. So there's a finger here, and it goes up against the frame rest. So, you know, I'd like to drive a screw in here, but there's frame rest here. There's only half the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to start my drill bit here and go down at an angle so that the screw kind of goes down in here like this and hits this meat on there. So just because there's glue in that joint, I want to pull it tight. So let's see what I can do. I don't know if I can do it and show you at the same time. I'll just start the drill, then I'll kind of gonna aim at this kind of at this point here. Beautiful. 3 more times. And again, I'm drilling through this piece. I'm not drilling through this piece because I want full contact with the threads on this piece here. I just don't want to crack this one when the head hits it. It's time consuming, but I actually really like repairing equipment because you need to problem solve, right? Sometimes you have to cut part of a box and put a piece in, and you have to figure out how to effect the best repair with using what you've got. You know, what you've got in a box, what you've got to repair it with, and the best way to do it, you know, presumably with the least amount of effort or a minimal amount of effort. There's a bit of a thing here, right by this frame rest. There's a little chunk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my PL Premium. I'm just going to squeeze it in here, fill that hole. It's not quite a hole yet, but it could be one day. So I've got the peel premium right here for making pallets, and I'm just going to put a bit in here, just like that. Now, this is not stuff you want to get on your clothes. So sometimes, especially when I'm wanting to make stacks of equipment after I repair, I put painter's tape over my repair, just so the glue doesn't stick to the next piece and it doesn't stick to my clothes or my fingers or anything else. And it'll cure up inside there just fine. All right. That's probably the strongest box I own. Crazy. Including this one, I have 4 3-way pallets to build. What I found to be helpful is it uses a little more hardware, but instead of lining this up real nice and then driving a screw through it, sometimes when the screw finds its way through the grain, things move on me a little bit. I've got my little 1.25" staple here, and that tacks it in there and doesn't let things move, not as easily. And so I'll just line up the end of those. I'll line up the front of this one. Then I'll line up these. I put that plywood on, quote, backwards. It's got the green paint on the back. It won't really matter. It's a good edge, so that's really all that matters. Last year when I started doing this, I drive thousands of screws, and I bought 2 of the smallest batteries Milwaukee makes for this screwdriver. They're 1.5 amp. So they last quite some time, but my concern is not how long they last, because I'm right here with the chargers. My concern is how much they weigh, and even a few ounces less at the end of the season really makes a difference for my wrist. It hurts anyway. And I don't have a very elegant way of locating this row of screws, so I just get out the trusty measuring tape. Doesn't take long. You cut a piece of wood the right length, which these little guides that I have when I do the center shims is what I use, so you can do the same thing. I just haven't done that. I'm only doing, I'm not doing the shims this time. I started doing just the plywood to the riser and the runner to the riser and setting it aside the other day. And that was working really well, allows me to work fast. And then I can come back and do the shims once this glue is set. One of the big messy things is the glue squeezes out here. And as I'm doing shims and turning around and all kinds of stuff, I get glue on myself and on the tools, and it's just really messy. So this way I can let that set overnight, trim that off, and then do the shims the next day. And I'm not using peel premium on the shims. So you can't put it that way because it says other side up. Make my lines. always save my marking stick and then make a new one the next season because somehow it goes in the garbage or something. Fortunately, they're not expensive or difficult to make. Okay, we'll get the glue on this. That mark helps me locate the glue. I tend to put too much glue here, so try to minimize. These I've been gang drilling. It does help us to support this end. I can use that little stapler again, just to tack this in exactly where I want it. That's pretty good. That lines up so I don't have to squeeze it or spread it. Okay, turn this around without making a mess. That's not attached, so I can't grab it there. So that's what I call the underpinnings, the risers and runners, done. And I'll let that dry, and then we'll do the shims on top. So you can see the overhang here, it's a couple inches, and that's just because these are 24 inches. I just cut the sheet of plywood in two, and then I can build the pallets out of that. And so I've got a pile here. I'll set this aside and build another one. What have I got? Three of the 3 ways left, and then I have 100 2 ways. And the 2 ways are absolutely 100% identical in this regard. So there is no difference in the underpinnings of a 2-way and a 3-way. Thanks for watching for this week. Update you again next weekend. Take care and have fun.